Hi guys, welcome to another video. Today I have a guest, Vadim from PPC Jumpstart, and we will talk about how we usually do our PPC audits, what are the common mistakes, and we're gonna compare how I do it and how he does it. So I think there will be a plenty of uh, things to be learned if you're serious about Amazon PPC. Vadim, welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi everyone. Well, first of all, very excited to be on this podcast, Igor. We've been wanting to get on this podcast for a while. I know you're deep into Civits and Amazon PPC, so am I. Um, so very excited about this topic. A bit about PPC Jumpstart. We are a boutique Amazon PPC agency working with several clients at a time, small team at the moment, very boutique. How I initially started, I used to be a seller myself back in like 2021 or 2020,
Mhm.
selling my own products. I had this product in the fitness niche, selling workout gloves. I did all the sourcing, the design, getting that stuff on Amazon, and then I realized that half of the battle is just figuring out how the ads work. Um,
Yeah, it
you know,
is.
yeah, yeah. And then I figured it out on my own through courses, etc. There wasn't as much information at the time as there is now. And then just someone contacted me asking me to manage their advertising. So, I'm like, okay, I guess I could do it for someone else. So I've done it for them, got them like very good results. In fact, it was like their two best months in a row in terms of like
That's
revenue.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's kind of how the agency started, as and when I saw that I could put these skills that I learned myself to other people. I became a freelancer at the time, getting, clients, helping them with Amazon ads. And yeah, that's how I began.
That was a proof of concept, right?
Yeah,
Somebody asked you to help them, and then there you go, 2 months in, and sales have increased.
yeah,
That's a
yeah.
confirmation of your services right there.
Yeah, exactly. And and from that moment, I was motivated to actually go ahead and help people because just hearing that first-hand experience from someone like, hey, you like helped our business a lot. Yeah,
That's good to
yeah,
hear. Yeah. So regarding audits, I know it's something that needs to be done almost
yeah,
daily. And sometimes it's time consuming,
mm-hmm,
sometimes it's pretty easy. When people
yeah,
ask me, how do you know, like, if everything was done properly or not, and I usually like to say, it's when you enter, similar when you enter the kids' room, when you go to the room, it's
yeah,
either chaos or it's neat and polished, everything
uh-huh,
is folded and stuff. So it's same
yeah,
when you have enough experience in PPC, once you open up Campaign Manager, you can, like,
uh-huh,
after a few clicks, you can see if
yeah,
it's going good or not, or is there any
yeah,
good
yeah, yeah.
intention, I suppose,
Yeah,
with you.
Yeah, I can certainly speak on that. And I'm sure that also that's something that you got with experience as well. Usually, like within the first few minutes, I look at the campaign manager, I can tell, whether this is account that's easy to fix or if PPC is running very well. So I get on a lot of calls with like like potential clients, etc. And I always tell them our first call is introduction, like what are your problems, and then the second call is me doing audit and figuring out if I can help you fix these problems. And what these people typically tell me after the audit, they are impressed and then they say, that, they've seen other audits and it's nothing that I've developed, like, other people, not naming anyone specific, but a lot of people, they think of an audit, it's just like one pager in a Google document is a
Yeah,
few comments, right? But it's a lot more than that. So I do have like I showed the clients like a 10-15 slide presentations that goes into in depth, of
it's interesting. Yeah.
yeah, in each of the aspects. Is that how you approach the audits too, Igor?
Something similar, something similar. Yeah, I kind of like to focus on PPC only because that's my expertise, but I kind
Yeah.
of also like to cover, like, the overall approach. I'm not an expert in creatives. I do know what works well and what's not.
Mm-hmm.
Because of just of the experience and talking with the creative agencies, seeing the results. But I like to start with business reports just as an overall view. I like to check,
Yeah.
what's the uh, one of the first things I like to see is, are there any B2B sales, because that can be an opportunity, with
Yes,
campaign
definitely.
managers and now these additional business placements
Mm-hmm.
adjustments. Then I like to check mobile to desktop ratio, which is usually at least 60-40% towards mobile.
Yeah.
Sometimes I even saw like 85% of people coming from mobile, which was huge.
Mm-hmm.
And then I like to compare right after that on top sellers, top 4 to 5, if there are that
Yeah.
many. I like to see, okay, is the listing optimized or not? Because
Yeah.
it's gonna give me a sense like what's working, what's not, are there any possible improvements. And then I like to
Mm-hmm.
start
Mm-hmm.
with brand metrics inside campaign manager, just as a
Yeah.
confirmation from like what I saw in listings. Then I check the conversion rate, like is it close to category median, category top, and then I
Yeah.
dive into campaigns. And yeah,
Yeah.
campaigns, it's a different story than what to
Mm.
do. So, and how do
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
usually start? Is it somewhere similar?
Yeah, it's very similar. I'm glad you mentioned business reports and business placements. That's also one of the things I consider. There is different brands. There is a brand that's selling toys for kids that's maybe not as business B2B driven, but I work with other brands that's selling electronics. Half of their sales is B2B. So
Yeah,
as you can
that's
guess, there
big.
is a lot of opportunity in business placements, in day parting, etc.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah, and like you mentioned, starting with like a very top level observation. What I want to figure out first is, do we have a bad offer and bad PPC, or do we just have one of this?
Yeah,
And how do we find that? So first of all, again, like the listing, is the listing optimized? Do we have images, brand story? Do we have A plus content? Do we have a backend optimization done? Alt text, backend search terms. Um, as far as image goes, I'm also like BPC Jumpstart is not a creative energy. We do have this as an add-on service if your offer is lacking. But the general idea is like, do you have a lot of text on your images? Is it too cluttered? Just a
yeah.
general design aspect.
Hmm.
Yeah, and then of course I look at the brand metrics. Brand metrics, this is a good way to check how you convert versus your overall category. If like say your listing is at 5% and category median is 10%, or it's just as twice as good, 2 times better, then I know that we need to work on the listing as well.
Yeah,
Um, PPC wise, the very, very first, you know, step, first step of the audit. What's our overall TACOS? What has the client told me needs to be the goal?
yeah,
So this is the very first step. So that kind of tells me, okay, how bad is the situation currently? And then we start working through individual products. So what is the tacos on each of the product SKUs? Which products are they are being under advertised, which are over advertised? And that just helps me, to understand how is the budget distributed. Do we have 20 products, but we have PPC going towards like 90% of PPC going towards one sort of thing,
hmm
or it's like all over the place? Yeah.
yeah. And
Uh-huh.
what? So can you tell me what are like top 3 red flags when you start your PPC audit, like only on PPC side?
Yeah, the PPC side. Is it just to confirm? Is it three red flags just like from the bird's eye view, or like deep in the weeds? I can give you both of
Whatever
them.
comes to your mind, like what is it, like top 3 things that you keep saying that brand owners are missing, or
Yeah,
as managers?
yeah, yeah, for sure. So number one is segregating branded and non-branded
Me too,
traffic.
yeah.
Yeah, traffic across campaigns.
Yeah.
Like I'm working with this supplement brand who has like huge presence outside of Amazon. And they don't have just branded searches. They have so many variations of this branded searches that that has to be excluded from your non-branded campaigns. So I'd say this is number one. It's very important to have non-branded campaigns and branded completely split apart. So So you know that way we can really judge effectiveness of our PPC. Second one is, I would say, placement optimization. And you know, this one is kind of basic, but I still see sellers overlook it. So just spending on placements that don't convert well, so product pages.
Yeah.
No, sometimes, you know, in very bad accounts, they have like 50% of their spend going towards product pages that converts like as twice as versus top of search or rest of search. And then I would say the number three is just is you know is so it's not having a proper plan. Like, you know, I've audited accounts that are completely driven by auto campaigns that have no negations. You know, there is no strategy at all. It's just what
It's
Amazon
a
suggests you
set and
do.
forget. Yeah.
Yeah, set and forget. And what's worse, if you do set and forget and you launch campaigns with default settings, unfortunately, and I don't know if Amazon did it on purpose, these default settings, they're bad because, you know, like say auto campaign by default is going to be up and down bidding.
Yeah.
So it's just giving so much control to Amazon. And yeah, the third one is lack of proper strategy and planning. And how about yourself, Igor? Like, what are
Yeah.
the top three things, maybe something that I not mentioned that you find?
Yeah, I agree with you on those things. For me, I think one of the cases that mostly come up in audits is a lack of proper structure, which I think aligns with what you said, like not there's no clear goal on what you want to
Mhm.
accomplish with that. So like you have whatever, it's not just a number of campaigns. So it can be 50 or 500, but like a campaign just called, car or, toy.
Yeah,
So you have
yeah.
any idea. I mean, only the one who created the campaigns know
Mhm.
what's in there. So proper campaign structure, which aligns with proper naming conventions.
Mhm.
Is it branded campaign? Is it auto? Is it multi-ad group or a single ad group? You don't know anything. So
Yeah.
and then once we start implementing some kind of a naming convention, it immediately opens eyes to, like, we know, is it a multi-ad group or not? And very often,
Yeah.
just when you go inside, you see that it's chaos. It's
Yeah.
recently I saw an account where in every campaign they had like 7 to
Mhm.
10 ad groups, and then inside
Okay.
every ad group there are a bunch of
Yeah.
keywords.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to salvage any of that, but we'll
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
So campaign structure that aligns with goals is usually number one
Mhm.
thing. Then, yeah, mix of branded keywords inside non-branded campaigns. Even when the campaign name says non-brand, you go inside and you see branded
Yeah.
search terms, not
Yeah.
keywords, but you see branded search terms. So
Yes.
the results are, you know, better
Mhm.
than
All over the place.
the
Yeah.
reality is. So
Yeah.
those kind of stuff, yeah, I really do agree. Um,
Yeah.
so it's a lot of work to just lay out the proper structure. Sometimes,
Yes.
recently I had, like, it took us a month to just have everything
Mhm.
laid out properly, because we just cut and slash, as you know, we try to
Yeah.
salvage, build on top what's
Yeah.
um
Yeah. And
in.
yeah, and uh, thank you for bringing up the campaign structure. This is just, of course, everyone talks about it, right? Like it's often discussed. So I'm curious, guys, when you do an audit and you onboard account, like what type of campaign structure do you follow? Like for me personally, the best and most granular structure is the one I use, which is single keyword campaign structure.
Mhm.
Um, Sometimes it's not workable on accounts with like 1,000 SKUs, but
Mhm.
like, how do you guys approach this in your audits?
I like to use single keyword campaigns, but I do it only for ranking campaigns
Mm-hmm.
and when I want to have absolute control over a single keyword.
Yeah.
Like, but mostly on ranking campaigns. Single keyword campaigns are for ranking, for most of the control. I don't go like having, single keywords for all the keywords, simply because I don't think it's that necessary. I like to have exact match campaigns grouped, like, depending on the search volume. Maybe similar search volume, top relevant keywords. I would go with 5 keywords if the
Yeah.
volume is kind of midway through, or maybe 2 to 3 keywords if they're high volume, and then also for broad match, phrase match, like not more than 5, 7, 8 keywords maximum. No, we start with 10, but then we see that some of them are not working, and it's a living thing,
Mm-hmm.
so we try to
Yeah.
optimize. Yes, having everything is single keyword campaigns is definitely where you have the most
Mm-hmm.
control. But I've
Mm-hmm.
seen that if we have single match type in a single ad group with not many of the keywords, we kind of balance that, like the level of control that we have with
Yeah.
placements, adjustment
Yeah.
for everything with negatives and stuff. I find it to be pretty like a good balance of not going too granular and
Yes.
grouping everything together. No, that's how I do it.
Yeah. 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 And also a bit more on that topic, I find, with accounts I audit, like if there is a campaign with more than 10 keywords, usually not more than like say 3 or 4 keywords in this campaign are getting spent, the rest are just sitting. So,
Yeah,
I call this like impression suppression, where Amazon, it has its own algorithm and it decides, okay, I'm gonna test these keywords in a campaign, and if they get spent, I'm gonna give them more spent, and the rest of the keywords they'll just sit there. So
yeah,
I
yeah,
think,
I agree. Yeah, it's something that I keep seeing, yeah, all over again.
yeah. So yeah, that is important, and 5 keywords in a campaign, that's probably the most I would use to. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um. Mm-hmm.
yeah. Wanted also to talk a little bit. I don't know. I just keep telling everybody about that tool because I keep getting surprised how many people, even the PPC managers, are not aware of that. At least not those that
Uh-huh.
that I spoken with. Like,
Yeah.
but brand metrics, that single tool unlocks so many. It's an eye opener for brand owners. When we are on audit, so it's not like I'm telling them that their offer is bad. I just open that and I select the
It's
proper
obvious. Yeah.
subcategory. So this is this is your subcategory. Like, I don't know, plastic toys for boys, whatever. And
Mm-hmm.
they see that they're converting like 6%, category median is 12, category top is 30%, and their price is not, they're not premium. So that's not the reason why the lower conversion rate, if they're twice
Mm-hmm.
as priced as all the others. So they're okay with the prices, but they're still, not converting
Yeah.
that much. So, there you go. And I let it sit for a few seconds, to see their it's
Yeah.
facial expression, because that's the point. We are not here to talk fairy tales. You have a problem, and we're
Mm-hmm.
here to tell you where the problem is for your sake, for
Yes.
mutual benefit. So we can help you drive meaningful traffic, but if your offer is bad, that's it. You're wasting money
Mm.
with us. We're wasting time with you. It's not
Yeah.
going to work. So
And
find
yeah.
that really something that I like, that when Amazon introduced that tool, I was like, yes, finally.
Yeah. 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 It's definitely an eye opener. Like, and do you sort of have like a limit? Like, let's say the brand conversion is 5% and the category is 10%. So in that case, like, do you not take some other client? I'm just curious.
I usually tell them that that's something that you need to work for, or
Yeah.
work on, get it fixed, then we can talk again. Or if
Oh, I
they're
see.
anxious to start,
Uh-huh.
because they like what they hear and see, then we can start working on the campaign structure, because that takes time and it's a really sensitive process,
Yeah.
while they do that on the creative side and on offer. And so we kind of save some time over there. But yeah, in the past I've had many occasions where I said, this is something that you have to fix. Before
Yeah.
that, just wasting money. That's why
Yeah.
your ACOS is at 60%. It's not about
Yeah. Exactly.
much to your account. So it's not
Yeah.
their fault. It's
Mm-hmm.
the off.
Yeah, and so besides looking at brand metrics, right, there's like, for example, there is also the search query performance I use. And
Yeah.
that's just to see the conversion on individual keywords. Um, and also besides that, what I also find, and it's kind of like counterintuitive, but your PPC the way you approach PPC, it can either decrease or increase your conversion rate of the listing, if that makes sense. Like this brand could be going for top of funnel keywords like shoes, and that is going to worsen its PPC conversion and also the overall listing conversion. So when we fix the PPC and we get this set up, say on the say we have like our top 5 converting keywords, and that's where we allocate most of the spend. Like you could also see the lift in brand metrics after doing this adjustment.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, correct.
it's something I also found, like the brand metrics could be bad, but then I also look at PPC, like maybe the PPC is really bad. Maybe they're just throwing money, right? Yeah.
Yeah, there are so many different things, but I also feel like that's the aspect, the technical aspect of the audit, but I also what I found
Mm-hmm.
valuable is that, you know, when we deliver that, we kind of really try to be as transparent as possible. As I said, we're not telling anybody fairy tales. We're not over promising simply because, that will put us in a sensitive situation if we over
Yeah.
promise
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
not deliver. But I find that
Mm-hmm.
the way we structure the responses and deliver that value in the audit, people actually really value the honesty and value the straightforward approach. It's not like
Yeah.
your product is great, you are great, everything is great, you just need us, and then we'll take off. Everything's gonna be cool. And sometimes I even, we didn't end up working on that account, but
Yeah.
they were stunned, like we by the value they got, and they
Mm-hmm.
realized that, okay, I even got I have several occasions when I told them after doing the audit, I said, guys, this is perfect.
Yeah.
I wouldn't change anything.
Uh-huh.
Why are you trying to step away from this company or
Uh-huh.
in-house team? Because everything is absolutely perfect. I don't see any
Yeah.
issue.
Yeah.
They were kind of surprised
Yeah.
because it didn't sell anything. But that's also worth saying, and I think that's kind of an integrity. I would
Mm-hmm.
do the same. And they were like, "Hey, we saw the spike in ACOS or whatever." I said, like, "So what? It's not a linear thing. So don't expect to
Exactly.
have
Yeah.
your ACOS flat. So something happened. Your competitor lowered the prices drastically, had a discount or
Yeah.
whatever. So your
Yeah.
conversion
Yeah.
rate dropped or ACOS increased or whatever. Just keep the guy and move on. And
Yeah.
they were like, "Yeah, but you're so transparent and honest. Now we want to work with you because you're that transparent and he's not." And I said, It's not worth it because you've been working with that guy for 2 years. He knows your account in and out. He knows you.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Just it's not worth the change. I'm
Mm-hmm.
do myself a favor, but the
Yeah.
point of my statement is that it's also how you communicate the results.
Yeah, yeah, and this is, and you touched on a few important things here. The first one is being honesty. So, in the like for us marketing agencies, there is, I think in this space, there is a certain like stigma or just like or a belief that usually every marketing agency they promise you the moon, but they don't deliver like that. I think that is like the common thought in the society. So what I find is like when I'm honest with clients and I promise them the results, but like I say like, hey, for example, there is gonna be 5, 10, or 5 to 10, 15% sales growth in the next months. I don't say it's 100%. They're like, I appreciate your honesty, like all these other people promising to double our results, and the fact that you're like being so like, like not over promising. I
Mhm.
think I think you always want to under promise, right? And then over deliver if you can, instead of
I know it vice versa.
yeah, and instead of over promising and under delivering. Yeah, and then yeah. And then the other thing about then the second one you mentioned is expectations, right? So the point of the audit is to also qualify the client for me, like it is a good fit for my agency, can I get them the results? Second one, do they have the right expectations? Like you said, there could be days where there could be a day where ACOS spikes that is that is still our under control, but there are gonna be days like that. And I tell the clients we have week over week analytics. Let's use that instead of a single day. And then the third one you mentioned, I think that was about I'm sorry, I'm forgetting. I think you were talking about honesty, right? So
Yeah,
honesty. No, that was about communicating results. So about communicating results, I think us as agency owners, we have to understand that some of these people they might be not as technical. Some of them are technical, so I always have to adjust my like say weekly reporting based on the client. If it's someone who doesn't understand ACOS, TACOS, then I'm going to adjust my message to
yeah,
his
true.
understanding. But if it's someone who is, who knows PPC very well, is obsessive as me, then the message, the email is going to be totally different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Vadim, I don't think we should talk too much because I think you shared pretty good insights on how you do. I want this episode to be like as concise as it
Oh,
can,
as
but
concise. Yeah. Sounds good.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
So
good. Uh,
yeah, so I would ask you just for like a closing notes. What
yeah.
is it like some of the recommendations for anybody out there, like uh, agency owners of do-it-yourself brand owners, just what to look for, what to do, what not to do, and then we'll share a little bit of information on the how people can contact you.
Yeah. So for closing notes, I'd advise everyone, like, if you are in the market for a PPC agency or whether you're not and you're working with someone already, just if you can do a 5-minute audit yourself, the first things you would check is, search term report, top highest converting keywords, how much budget are we allocating to these keywords? Typically, it should be at least, 30 to 40%. A good portion of your budget should be going towards something that converts well. Second one is like Igor pointed out, the campaign structure. What is currently the campaign structure there? And then the third one is placements. How well are they optimized? You could do you could download a placement report, do a pivot table, and just see what kind of spend allocation that you have towards these placements, top of search, rest of search and product pages. Yeah, and then another thing is like we both talked about brand metrics. And if it's something that needs work, if your conversion is a lot worse than category, then this is also something that could be done outside of PPC, like listing optimization. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that's good. That's good. I think it's. I was afraid you were going to start with something too technical.
Oh, no, no, no. Yeah.
Yeah, but I would say something similar, like avoid having branded search
Mhm.
terms or keywords in non-branded campaigns. Negate them as a phrase match. If
Mhm.
your brand name is Coca-Cola, add Coca-Cola as a phrase negative match in all campaigns, except the branded one, of course. Then I would probably say, again, brand metrics, evaluate how you're standing against the competition. And the last one, I would say, if you're spending too much time managing PPC, it's probably a time to consider somebody else, because
Yeah.
PPC
Yeah.
can be overwhelming if you're if it's not something that you do every day,
Mhm.
I cannot even imagine somebody managing everything plus the PPC, Uh, that can be really
Yeah.
challenging, at times.
Mhm. Yeah.
Vadim, thank you very much. Please tell us if somebody
Mhm.
liked what you shared today, what would be the best contact option for you? Is it a website or email or what do you like?
Yeah. The best contact would be through website, or you could just send me an email at vadim@ppcgemstar.com. I'm also pretty active on LinkedIn if you guys want to check out some of the more content. Yeah, we could get on a quick call and then see if the audit is the next step. Logically, yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you, Vadim. I wish you good rest of the day, and I was enjoying our conversation.
Yeah, thank you. You as well. Thanks for having me on your podcast, Igor.
Bye.